and this was the piece that this is where everything changed, where we were able to figure out that my donor was donating for at least 6 years.
Jesus.
Because given the way that my donation happened, we assumed that I was like a one-time deal.
Mm-hmm.
We did not think that I was part of a major pod. And my donor was donating for 6 years in the 80s as a med student. And that was the fact that I was told by people who have been much more active within this advocacy longer than I have, were like, you need to be ready because you could have easily 50 siblings. And that was when everything changed for me. That was the moment of, oh my God, I need to talk about this. This needs to get out there immediately. What is going on? What? I might have 50? And so I connected with that sister, and then her full sister is also my half sister. And then I found out I had another half sister. And since then we've found a half brother. And it's been, and that was the point of anger for me. That was when I started getting angry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started doing the research, and I started learning about how unbelievably and comically unregulated the infertility industry is.
Yeah.
Especially in regards to donor conception.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just shocked because I was like, there's no way. This is cartoonish.
Yeah.
It is. It's cartoonishly unregulated. The fact that, and this is always where I start with people, the fact that it is not federally illegal for a doctor to switch out the chosen donor sperm or eggs with their own. That act is only illegal in 11 states. And that was a recent development.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're starting. That to me is ground level. So if that's not federally illegal, let your imagination soar of what else is not regulated. And that's always kind of how I start explaining it to people, is like, because let's just, let's call it for what it is. That's sexual assault. Yeah. It is legalized sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we talk about the safety and health of recipient parents going in for fertility treatments, that's always the first thing that I talk about, is that isn't illegal. And it isn't even, and if you go in with your partner, you go in with like your husband, it's not federally illegal for them to switch out your husband's sperm for his own, which happens a lot with IVF.
I'm laughing because I have no other emotion.
No, totally. I get that.
Me when you hear shit like that, right? Yeah. Like,
because it's comical. It's just cartoonish.
So I did all my treatment in the UK, and the second clinic that we were with, I mean, we had like IDs and like, when you're going in, they're scanning you and all that. So, I mean, I did feel safe in my clinic that they were doing the best that they could.
Yeah.
But it does cross your mind several times what's happening, mistakes, purposely, swaps, and I have an IVF baby, and I was so grateful when it came out that it was a spit of my husband. So I knew that it was like, but it does cross your mind, and it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. I mean, absolutely. The fact that they, the barcodes, I mean, all clinics should be working off of the barcode system. Absolutely. I mean, that should be standard practice. And I mean, a lot of them do. But again, it takes one Yahoo in the cryobank or the clinic to just screw everything up.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people, is that I don't think that every single person in the infertility industry is this maniacal, evil individual. I don't think that. But all it takes is that one person in the clinic to ruin, to drastically, maliciously hurt 100 people.
Yeah. With your research, because obviously I found you on TikTok and found your information like just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
These huge pods that you've been working on.
Yeah.
Do you think this is an 80s, 90s thing? Or do you think it still is going on?
Absolutely, it's still going on, and I do have evidence for that to absolutely say. One of the I also not to totally self-promote myself, but my podcast Insemination. There is a episode called Cryobank Whistler. So that episode specifically talks about somebody who worked in a major cryobank in the United States that supplies sperm for the United States and internationally. And she basically whistle blew a massive pod. And she was working there in 2014. So this was very recent.
Mm.
And basically what happened was she caught a serial donor donating at multiple banks, including hers, and realized, oh my God, the pod's already huge. We need to stop selling him. Mm-hmm. And she went to her higher ups and was like, we need to stop selling him. Here's my evidence. This is like everything. Like we have to stop selling him. And they basically said, no, we're not doing that. We're absolutely not. He's our number one seller and there's no regulation. And she loved her to death. And she just went, no, this is wrong. And so she took this information to his higher ups and she was promptly fired.